Good evening, Dr. Alka. Welcome to Coffee with Kalra, everyone. With our leadership series this evening, we have a wonderful topic, the impact of fine motor skills on leadership, Dr. Alka. Very interesting.
Thank you so much, Miss Lucia. Yes, fine motor skills are very, very important. Before we even get down to understanding why it is important, I think for those friends who don't know what fine motor skills are, I would like to define it. See, once the child is born and the child is a little baby, and so he's in a cradle and then starts to crawl, starts to walk, and then that's the time the child also starts to manipulate with the objects and the things available in his or her psychosocial ambience. Now, whenever we are using our finger dexterity, whenever we are using our fine muscles and we're looking into the muscle coordination, I think that is what is very, very significant and important. And fine motor skill is actually using the finer body muscles and hand and eye coordination, where we are looking, and some people you would see have very good handwriting, but some of the students have very, very bad handwriting. I think the fine motor skills come to play out there. So if you have a good control on your finer muscles, certainly the command which your brain gives to your muscles actually has greater results, better results, and in turn, the children are able to have better handwriting, they're able to have better control on their pencil work. So they're able to color within the lines and things like those. But the ones who are having some kind of a challenge in that field, they need to actually work on to improve it, because this is something which can be improved. So to conclude in nutshell, fine motor skills is hand and eye coordination. And when we talk about hand, we talk about finer muscles. We talk about the muscles of the fingers, the palm, and the full hand into action. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. That's a very, very comprehensive definition of fine motor skills. Now, doctor, what is the importance of fine motor skills in our life?
Very, very good question again, Miss Lucia. When we say fine motor skills, motor is movement, skill is a capability, and fine motor means the finer movement of the finger. Now, why is it important? Certainly in the academic arena, we do understand it is very important because it directly connects to our handwriting. But not only handwriting, it actually connects to many things. So the ability, there are certain children who are very clumsy when it comes to dealing with object. Even take an example of eating. So using a spoon, filling it up and bringing it to the mouth is also a task of a fine motor skill. But if it is not developed, then they are dropping it here and dropping it there, or maybe drinking a liquid with the spoon. So how strong are your muscles and their motor abilities? So when you're trying to drink a liquid or you're trying to eat a semi-solid, using the spoon and eventually, of course, eating a solid stuff, that is what makes a difference. And you would see that first is the solid because that's easy to eat, and then semi-solid, and eventually the liquid. The fact remains that your mind coordination, so your mind actually orders your hand to perform a task. And your eyes are involved in it because first you look at it, then you hold it, and then you take it in the direction you want to take it. Now, certain games children play among themselves are the games of the fine motor skills. So fine motor skills are generally very, very important, not only in academic arena, but also in personal arena as well. So eating habits, simple things like buttoning, unbuttoning, zipping, right from the beginning, shoe tying. So whatever, there are so many things in our lives which are because of the fine motor skills. And if the brain is clumsy or brain's instructions are not followed by the body, so the body is clumsy, the actions are not that good as expected, then the child certainly faces the difficulties out there. So I think every educator in the life of a child, every parent in the life of a child should be very watchful about that how good the child is in the fine motor skills, and support the child to cultivate it if it is not there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. The third question, Doctor, what causes delay in developing and strengthening fine motor skills?
Again, a very, very intelligent question. What causes delay can be many, many things. It can be anything. It can be something at the prenatal stage, can be something while the mother was pregnant and the baby was within, or it could be at the time of birth. So before birth, during the conception period, or afterward, anything can impact the fine motor skills of a child. Even the process of delivery, because the head comes out of the mother's womb first and then the body, and head is actually the biggest part of the body. And when the mother is very elderly and probably it is her first delivery after the age of 30s, there is a possibility that the baby to be born has a very soft head. So inside the mother's canal is like a rubber. It stretches, as the head passes by, it stretches, it opens. But sometimes it becomes very rigid with the age. So instead of it stretching and giving a way for the head to pass by, it actually compresses the head itself. And then in turn, there's some abnormalities which can be seen in the child. So we don't really know that what specific is the cause, but there can be very many causes. It can be mother sickness while she was conceiving the baby. It could be mother's consumption of some very heavy medications at that time, alcohol, smoking. A pregnant mom should not do this because the child can be harmed. So one needs to be very, very careful about it. So all these things can be the cause, but we don't really know because every child is a unique composition. So we don't really know what is the specific cause in that particular child. But as educators, we should take a note of it. We should support the child and in turn bring in better results for building the esteem of the child.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. Now, Dr. Alka, what sort of activities help strengthen fine motor skills?
Well, this is a lovely question. There are loads of factors, loads of activities, even activities for preschoolers, the early years, the activities for the middle schoolers, the activities for even the teenagers who have not cultivated proper grip on their pencils or their hand and eye coordination isn't good. So if for the muscles, this statement is very, very true that if you don't use the muscle, you lose the muscle. So if you're not exercising, you start putting on the weight. If you're not doing these activities, you start losing the strength of the muscle. So when we talk about fine motor skills, it is very important to induct it into the children in a playway method. And there can be plenty, like I can mention maybe a list of hundreds of such methods. Simple things like, say for example, buttoning, unbuttoning. Now it involves, so we give them various sizes of buttons and various dresses which has different big size, small sizes of button, open and close, zips, open and close, and tie the shoelaces. Not only that, we often have this Play-Doh does a lot of magic. With Play-Doh, anything, making snakes, making pictures, doing things. And actually at edges can we have a potter's wheel, and that's the best way of developing hand-eye coordination of the child, because the child loves it when they create those lovely cute little pots by themselves. It gives them an extreme sense of esteem, and they enjoy doing it. Not only that, say macaroni. A smart mother can think of macaroni and make the child make some jewelry out of macaroni. So it can be the earrings or the bracelets or the necklaces, and there you can make even small paper cubes, and then sew them in through the needle. So anything which involves your finer muscles is going to help, and you need to do it time and again and again. Even painting, coloring, depending upon what the age of the child is, you need to keep giving practices, and you would be surprised. Like with the buttons, you can make a kind of a garland or a string. You can make with flowers the garlands. You can use any medium. Actually, the educators need to be very, very smart and intelligent and think about giving variety to children, because children love varieties. And if you're able to do that, and then they come, see, and then it is not only doing the task. Once a child achieves excellence in performing the task, I think the next level becomes where you start doing the task time bound. So, all right, you see that the child is doing it in 3 minutes. All right, let's start again and let me time you. And then it becomes 2.5 or 2 and 1.5. So the speed and accuracy, these are very, very significant concepts. It's not just attaining to do it, but doing it with excellence, with coordination in the shorter span of time is something which is very important. And teachers can use it within the class as making them teams and teamwork and who does it faster. See, it's not winning or losing, but introducing and bringing in that component of excitement into teaching and learning processes. And I will tell you, when it comes to activities, there are so many activities. You can do it. You can use multicolored your Play-Dohs, make the circles out of it, make something out of it, and even take the beads, the bigger beads, and slowly move on to the smaller beads and very, very fine beads. Because if the child has that control, then the child is able to find that. So if you go on Google and search about the activities for improving the social skills, I am sure you will get plenty. And then use your innovation into it and make it more exciting for the children in your class or at home. And you can even, ask a couple of children from the neighborhood of multiple ages to get together and then do the activities, because children love company, and you can make these kind of fine motor skill activities, which is useful for everyone. Even if the child has a good motor skill, the muscle, when you exercise, it becomes better off. So why not to give them that kind of an activity and that kind of an exercise? So I think fine motor skills is very, very significant in life, and it should not be ignored, because this is something which can be cultivated. So when you put in efforts, you can really see the results. So to all those parents who have young children and children are not having good handwriting, I will have a suggestion for them. Now, instead of pushing your children to write 5 pages and 10 pages, which they hate to do it, I remember when we were young and our classmates, which we were not able to write very well, the teacher will give them punishment. And today, as a psychologist, I feel so much of pain for that, because that was criminal attempt. Maybe unknowingly, our teachers didn't know. So if the child had a poor handwriting, he was given imposition, go back home and write 10 pages. Now, a child who's failing to complete 1 page in the class, and if you give an assignment of doing 10 pages, will not improve. Rather, make it more enjoyable and give activities which the child will love to do it. And when the child is able to do that, you're getting the same results. So what is more significant is that the fine muscle of the hand or of the fingers and eye coordination improves and the speed improves. It will automatically improve the handwriting. Thank you so much, Mrs. Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. Now, Dr. Alka, I guess this is our final question, but it is a key question. How can fine motor skills actually have an impact on leadership skills?
All right, that's something very, very nice. And see, the music is starting in the background as you say that it is a key question. And I really believe that it is a key question. That what leadership has to do with the fine motor skills. See, leadership is a very, very vast concept. Leadership is not one word leadership. And when we talk about leadership in our children, each child is a unique creation of the good Lord above, with some strengths and some weaknesses. Now, while the child is at school, if the parents, the teachers, the friends, the peer group start focusing on his weaknesses, he starts performing poor, and poorer. But if this focus is on the strengths, the child actually starts overcoming even the weaknesses. And I really mean this statement. So my message to all those parents who are viewing, or all the educators who are viewing this series, is that if a child is not writing well, or if the child is not coloring within the lines, instead of making a statement and saying you're not able to color within the lines, or you're not able to write very well, if the teacher is able to reword the same statement, that you can really color well if you do this. So providing solution to our little ones. They don't know how to do it. So the child who's holding a pencil and scribbling it all over, he knows that's the only way he can color. So you as an adult in his psychosocial ambience need to actually teach him how to hold a pencil. And he may not be able to hold a pencil, then you can use the pencil grips, because we do have the pencil grip. So understand where the challenge is coming from and accordingly provide the solutions to the child instead of focusing on where the problem is. So my message on this point, as you said, leadership, and I know we have lovely leaders around her, all lovely teachers are leaders, and all lovely parents have all the positive intentions for their children. Please, whenever you find anything lacking in your child, if you keep talking about it, nobody likes it. Even you don't like it. I don't like it if somebody starts mentioning, you can't do this, you can't do this, you're very bad at this. Who likes listening to it? Even if that's a truth, even if you are bad at it, but use the alternative positive language, and that positive language will bring in positive results. So let's think about providing solutions. With those solutions, the children can actually perform very, very well. So when we talk about leadership and fine motor skills, when we talk about a direct connection, that connection is any weakness in life, anything with the child is weak in, bring in crushed self-esteem. Other children can point to that, other children can talk about it, teachers can talk about it, others can talk about it. So the minute you identify the area where there are weaknesses, your esteem gets crushed, you start having a negative self-view, and in turn, your leadership gets impacted. So we need to teach our children how to bounce back. So limitations are there in everyone. Leaving the good Lord Allah, I think none of us are perfect. We do have limitations, but accepting our limitations, working on our limitations, and especially the parents and the teachers, giving that conducive environment to little ones to work on their skills and bringing in difference there. So whenever you notice that the child is facing any challenge in the field of fine motor skills, The moment you know it, keep it as your target. And every time when you have a playtime, you bring in his friends, neighbors, relatives, whoever you get. The focus is to see that my child's fine motor skills are improved. Because if your hand-eye coordination is good, even see, finger dexterity is such an important concept. So say for example, you're picking up a bead and you're threading it in. Now, instead of picking up the bead directly, you can use a tweezer. And now you're picking up a bead with the tweezer, which is a dual tasking. And then you're threading it in. So you can keep making the task more complex. So what we're talking about it, that we start increasing the level of difficulty. As the age of the child is increasing, you look into the level of difficulty and then see that that exposure is given to the child. I am sure that you will have wonderful results. So leadership and fine motor skills are directly connected, because if the child esteem is crushed, then he starts seeing himself in a very, very negative light. And my dear parents, working on a fine motor skill, forget about fine motor skill, for any skill for that matter, is quite an achievable goal if you have a positive outlook towards it. And a very special message to my growing leaders and their parents: please focus on their strengths than on their weakness. We all are the bundle of some strengths and some weaknesses. But when the focus is on strengths, weakness start to disappear by itself, and then the child becomes the bundle of strengths. But if the focus is on weakness, only emptiness comes in hand, and the child becomes from a bad performer to the least performer, and sometimes a dropout from the school because he's not interested and he doesn't see any possibility. So I always say a teacher without hope is a hopeless teacher. So we need to see to it that if we want our young children to do well, see that hope and show that hope to them, because there is a leader in every child. And I very strongly believe that leaders are not born, but made, and made by the leaders themselves, who are their teachers, who are their parents. So keep your focus on their positive things. Negative things will be there, but don't let those negative things be the focus. Solution is the focus. Problem should never be the focus. Enjoy developing good leadership into your lovely children. At EduScan, we just concluded our spring camps, and in our spring camps, fine motor skills are very, very important. So we not only do arts, but we do a lot of craft, and activities of craft are chosen as they are increasing level of difficulty. So as the child starts improving on it, the more complicated task is given, and that is how their esteem is increased. They feel happy about it, and they become a performer. Thank you so much, Ms. Lucia.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Alka. Now we can call upon our audience and invite them to ask their questions. We are eagerly waiting for your questions, so kindly share them with us and we will happily answer.
So you can open your cameras if you're comfortable, or you can unmute yourself and you can just ask a question, anything to do with the fine motor skills, and I will be more than delighted to answer that. So do we have any question coming in from our audience?
So, Dr. Alka, it doesn't seem like that, but I think there is something that we can definitely conclude with, in that it's a very exciting day tomorrow as our new academic year begins and term 1 starts tomorrow. So we're all very excited in receiving our children tomorrow. But ongoing at EduScan, we offer an array of courses, correct, Doctor, and programs? So maybe you can shed a little bit more light to our community as to what exactly we continue to do all year round.
Thank you so much, Miss Lucia. May I request somebody who's actually unmuted and which is disturbing? We can listen to something in the background. West Cycle to immediately mute Teachers Dubai, because that's actually troubling. So sorry, because when you were talking, Miss Lucia, it was getting disturbed. So can you just please repeat it for our audience?
I would be more than happy. So I was saying, Doctor, tomorrow we are very excited as our new academic year begins and term 1 starts tomorrow. So we're all so excited in receiving our children again tomorrow. And again, we have an option of physical classes and online learning. So this is absolutely fantastic that our community has a choice. And choice is important. But ongoing through the year, we have an array of courses, programs. So, Doctor, would you mind just shedding a little bit of light on those correctional programs that we have?
Yes, I would love to do that.
Thanks, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Miss Lucia. Equally excited as you are, and I think the whole team at EduScan is super excited, preparing, working very hard to receive our children tomorrow. After 1 week of a break, they had a spring break, and now the first term is starting tomorrow. Their books, their papers, their things are getting ready, their uniform and whatnot. Now everybody is super excited. Talking about our correctional program, as I said, parent, look into the challenge your child is facing and immediately take an external support for any kind of an intervention. A child who has any challenges in the field of speech, when we talk about maybe there is a lisp, whether there is a, the child is stammering, whether the child is not clear, any kind of a challenge for that matter. In the field of speech, do contact us, because we're there to support you, be it online, be it physical. All that is possible. We have developed amazing material for our lovely children. We know it's a very unprecedented time around, and sometimes the parents are not very confident to send the children on physical classes. That's with all due respect, but that doesn't mean that you delay the targets for your children, be it occupational, be it behavior. All our therapists are ABA therapists. They're all trained on applied behavior analysis, and they use it into their practice, because behavior becomes the first concern when a child is having a challenge, because the child doesn't know why is he not performing as his other friends does, and what brings in a frustration, aggression, anxiety, and all that impact the behavior of the child. So the teachers at EduScan are trained to deal with it. So if you're signing in for a speech, it is not only speech, but speech plus behavior. Even occupational, we have lovely tools and techniques on campus available and even online availability, so that our children can get the best. So we have all sorts of therapies available. We have lovely correctional programs there. We have dyslexia correction for lifetime, one of our very, very important programs, very well appreciated programs. If the child is born dyslexic, you have identified that your child is facing a challenge. What do you do about it? He doesn't need to live with that challenge. You need to support your children to get out of it, and we have a solution for that. I have worked on the kids of middle school who could not read, and now they're voracious readers. Only when you are able to support them, they're able to enjoy their life to the optimum. We work very closely with the children on ASD spectrum. Please do consult us. We would be more than willing to support your children. And we have an amazing team, very, very dedicated therapists. Anytime, whether on a regular basis or on a part-time basis, you need our support, we are there for you. Thank you so much for being on this platform and viewing this and understanding the significance of fine motor skills. This series will continue, because one by one, we are going to touch on every single such factor. Thank you so much, Ms. Lucia, for your time. And I'm sure that at EduScan, let me tell you another thing. We work for the parents of very, very average affordable fee structure. So it's the best quality at the affordable fee because it is a community service project. So we ensure that the affordability is there for children. And of course, EduScan, under my leadership, we are able to conduct the assessments, all sorts of assessments, psychometric assessments, psychoeducational assessments. I am a licensed psychologist from the Community Development Authority. If your child has any such need, feel free and let us know, and we will be more than willing to support your child. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Alka. And until the next time, have a lovely week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much, Ms. Lucia. Have a great week. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.